This is the Bilal Vakani Hour on Canada Talks Sirius XM 167, joined once again by the founder of the Disability Channel, Jay Stoyan, and Doug Smith. And I'm going to try to sum him up because he's a very, very impressive guy. I'd say more than me and Jay. He is a former top NHL draft pick. He suffered a life-changing injury, and his recovery is just an inspiration to us all. If you haven't heard it, you're about to be inspired. And Doug, you were telling me before, many regard you as one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of the Ottawa area. I just want to give you a chance, Doug. Anything else you want to add? Because you're a very accomplished man, and I'm sure me and Jay struggled to introduce you in multiple settings.
I was a hockey player. There's been many great athletes come out of Ottawa. But I'm honored. Thank you, Bilal, for having me on. Because what we're going to talk about is beyond hockey, and I'll share a little bit of the story with you. Thank you for having me on, and it's always great to spend time with Jay. We spend a lot of time together, and I love chatting, Jay.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Bilal.
Okay. Look, Jay, you're a super busy guy, and I'm afraid we will not get back to Doug. So let's promote all the stuff you're doing, starting with some of the programs you've started, and hopefully we'll have some time to come back to the greatest athlete to ever come out of Ottawa.
I'll make it quick. I'm like a play-by-play guy. So I'll start off by just saying our programs have started on July 30th. We have 15 or 16 participants, a great mixture of persons with disabilities, and 6 veterans in our program. So 5 of them are mentors. One of them is taking our program. Doug's a huge part of the program. So Doug has a special role in this program because our programs run 20 weeks and they're pretty intense, 3 days a week. And remember, we're training persons with disabilities and veterans who have had their own issues throughout life. So sometimes it becomes a little overwhelming, or it's too much for them to handle on their plate that week for some instance. And this is where we've assigned Doug to step in because of his own personal experience with his injury. That what he does is he contacts the people. Well, he's in constant contact with our class, right? So they sit down and they talk it through, and Doug helps them so they can, the anxiety level goes down. And then the energy goes up and they rejoin the class without dropping out. So it's a super added addition that Doug's going to play a huge role in our programs because there's so much opportunity. Doug, why don't you jump in and give your thoughts, and then I'll jump in, like Bilal said. Otherwise, we're never going to be able to talk. So
Sure. Really, what I do, is I help them perform better, guys. Like we want. It doesn't matter whether your brain is functioning fine, your body's functioning fine. Your brain only wants to get better. And so what I do is I help them understand how that functions so that they can start with the mind, because the mind leads the body and the mind heals the body, and the mind calms the body. So that's the process we take people through, and I'm happy to share more about it as we talk here. And everything's going fantastic with the class. The classes. It's very exciting to be there with them and see the progress.
Thanks, Doug. Yeah, it is. It's very, very interesting. Bilal, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I just want to give people an aside because me and Doug got here early, and I noticed Doug's shades. And he actually, can you explain, Doug, why the glasses you wear help you? Because I think it was a great example of how it's not just mind and body; it's also things you can practically do in this case. Just as an example.
Well, these glasses were built for my brain. It takes about an hour and a half to go through the process with Opticon, and they filter out all the light that bothers my brain. So they filter out the light that hurts my brain's performance, and a lot of people out there that could benefit them as well. And the work today, like I'll share my story. I played 600 games professionally.
Oh, there you go.
In game 607 of my professional career, I shattered the 5th and 6th cervical vertebrae in my spine. So I was drafted by the Los Angeles Kings. I just actually showed Bilal this. I pulled this up from 1981, second
Nice.
overall after Dale Hawerchuk. I played for the Kings, and then I went to the Sabres. I played for the Vancouver Canucks, the Edmonton Oilers, and then I played with Mario in Pittsburgh. And then, in game 607, I went head first, full speed into the end boards, and I shattered the fifth and sixth cervical vertebrae in my neck, which resulted in many surgeries. I became a quadriplegic in 1992. And then I went through the long journey to learn how to walk again, to learn how to skate again, to learn how to function again physically. But you know what did it? It wasn't my physical body that did it this time around, that got me to the top. It was my mental ability. It was my brain. And now what we're learning about the human brain is sort of proving everything that happened to me. I was just operating blind, just on faith. And now we know, for example, the latest work right now is showing us that there's not just physical, and there's not just the emotional or the psychological. Okay, so you got physical, psychological, and now we have consciousness. So the latest physical science is saying that the consciousness is what glues the physical together with the psychological, but it's a separate piece of anatomy. You guys think about that, and the audience, think about that, okay? Everybody's talking about consciousness, but we're not nurturing it. Now we're identifying it as a separate piece of anatomy. So like we nurture the body, and like we're telling people to nurture the mind, we're going to nurture the glue that holds the mind together with the body. And that's the core work that I'm doing right now. That's where my book, The Trauma Code, leads us. It leads us to this place. And then Dr. Northoff's work at the University of Ottawa. He runs the neuroscience department. He's got 2 PhDs, and he and I share information on this. And we're going to be transferring this knowledge. Our goal is to transfer this knowledge to the professional athletes, and that's a bit of a slow curve, right? To get into that space and to get the trust in this space. But we've got a team we're building, and we're going to apply it there for the professional athletes, and we're going to apply it the same for people with disabilities, because it doesn't matter. The brain doesn't care. The brain just wants to perform better. So we're gonna help a lot of brains, Bilal, and you're part of that, man. So thank you.
I feel incredibly guilty because I have a leftover chicken sandwich from KFC I'm going to be eating in a couple hours, and that's not good for my body. Jay,
Oh, that's okay, man. You know what? You can do that all you want. Just make sure you meditate tonight, okay?
okay, it's a deal. Jay, I'm going to reflect on that. While I do, can you tell us about the concert tour? Because I do feel guilty.
Yeah, so just what Doug said, like, that's amazing. And what he's teaching, what our class is teaching, is transferring now over to veterans, right? So the two communities are coming together, the most vulnerable and the hero community. They're supporting each other. They're making new friends and creating new opportunities, which brings us to our music tour. We have our fundraiser confirmed on October 12th out here at Burlington at Kerrigan Arms. We're also talking to the Ottawa Senators alumni through Doug. We might be having an event out in Ottawa, along with Ashley McIsaac and veterans out on the East Coast, which leads us to Toronto again, as we're talking right now about having a huge event called Vetstock in Burlington at the Burlington Performing Arts Center. And then we go out to BC for the Invictus Games, which I have to mention, Bilal. I had a wonderful conversation with the CEO, Scott Moore, and his team earlier this week. They love what we do. We're mandated together. We're almost, fit by the hip. Like, we're almost together by the hip. Like, we're brother and sister. So he's really excited about coming on the radio show for a positive interview. I do want to give a big shout out to our team out in BC, because they're both musicians. They're both disabled, and they both support veterans. And I want to go through the list, and I'll tell you why, because some of them are veterans, and musicians, and all of them, I don't know about all of them, but they're all disabled, and they love the community. So big records, starting with Mark Rosner, all the way down from veteran Dan White, veteran Michael Wooten, veteran Fraser Newcomb, musician Maria Norse, Special Agent Sunshine, a great band, and the lead singer is bipolar, so he pushes the disabilities, and Brandywine Band, along with author Marion of Waikiki. This lady has a 4-book series about anti-bullying, environment, just really positive stuff. So I have to say this because the community is coming together, Bilal. Our page is absolutely blowing up on Facebook. So I have to thank you because the exposure you're giving us with your millions and millions of subscribers, I cannot thank you enough for the kindness. Like amazing.
I unfortunately do have to run in 2 minutes here. So quickly, I know one of you has a book coming. I don't know which one of you, so I'll just open it up. Who's got, I know
Yes.
Doug mentioned his book in the past, but who's got the latest book?
So, okay, I'll take the lead there. So, yeah, so it all going back to where it started in 2004 with my novel called Flanagan's Life Inside an Irish Street Gang, which I shopped and shopped and shopped and shopped. And now it's been picked up by AMG/Sony, and it's going to be turned into a television series slated for Netflix. And we have Burton Cummings involved. But the big thing about this, Bilal, is this is going to become a job creator for our graduates in production. Like, it's just another perfect fit that I never planned. Like, I never planned this. It just sort of fell into place. So we're going to have persons with disabilities and veterans scattered among the production staff. I got to give a big shout out to Mark Barry and Dwayne Farley at AMG. Amazing guys. So the list goes on. Oh, and actually, October 12th, we're planning on having a special guest named Premier Doug Ford at the event. Wow. Boom. Here we go. Yeah.
Okay. Doug, there's something I've been saving. So I need your take on where the NHL is going, right? They've got the Prime Video deal. You and I remember the lockout. It sort of put the NHL in the spot where MMA and the UFC was able to kind of carve out a big market, more so in the US than Canada. But I think for the NHL to have a deal like this, it puts them at the forefront of sports that have these deals with streaming services and could allow them to really return. You know, I'm sure the way you see the league is one of the very top leagues in the world. Is that how you look at that deal and what's to come?
You know, this is all about content.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to replace average content with great content. And people are going to tell them, this is just a math problem, right? It's physics. So people are going to tell them what they want to hear, and they're going to give them exactly that. That's my thing, right? It's almost like it's an ever evolving evolution, like any change, right? It's a process. So that's my take on it.
Look, and I appreciate the succinct take because I'm out of time. Doug Smith, he is a former NHL'er, just a great inspiration. And Jay Stoyan, the founder of the Disability Channel. Quickly, Jay first, then Doug. Handles, websites, everything you can throw out because I think people need to learn more about you both. Jay, go ahead.
Sure. I would love people to check out our programs. Go to www.thedisabilitychannel.ca. You can email me personally, Jay, at thedisabilitychannel.ca. Again, it's all about providing opportunities to persons with disabilities and veterans in production. Get them jobs.
Doug, take us home.
Hey, DougSmithPerformance.com. Just go there and check it out. And if you want to download my latest meditation, please do. It's based on my work. It works every time. You won't be able to stay awake. It'll help you get to sleep at night. DougSmithPerformance.com/ just relax. You know, just type in relax. DougSmithPerformance.com, relax. Okay, that's what we got to do. That'll help us heal faster than anything. And I'll show you how it works. My pleasure.
Thank you both. Always a great pleasure and honor to speak to you. That's it for the Bilal Vakani Hour. You can follow me on Twitter at BilalV87. We'll chat with you next week.